Good morning, everybody, and thank you for attending, and Jeff, thank you for the invite, as always. So we'll talk a little bit here today about exploration in Nevada. We're a Nevada-focused company focused on a very high-grade discovery that the company made in 2013, and we've been developing that story ever since. Cautionary statements and forward-looking statements, I encourage you to read those when you have time, but we're here to really get into the story. So Western Exploration, what is the opportunity here? We've made a very high-grade discovery in Nevada called Gravel Creek. We've delineated it with this year's drilling to 350 meters of strike length and 250 meters dip length, which is up and down, averaging about 20 gram per ton gold equivalent. We've also, in our portfolio on the same project, got a high-grade at-surface oxide gold deposit that we're completing a PEA on right now. It averages about 1 gram per ton, about 500,000 ounces that we think we can recover with a standard open pit heap leach with about 70% recovery. We've got excellent endowment. We're at the northern end of the Independence Trend where we get Carlin-type deposits, but also we're near the northern Nevada epithermal belt, which produces some of the highest grade epithermal deposits in North America. It's 100% owned by us, right off a paved highway in northern Nevada, only about an hour's drive north of Elko, and we've put together a world-class team that's worked together for the last 25 years on discovery to develop this story into the next major discovery in northern Nevada. So where we're located, you can see us there in gold. We're right off a paved highway, which is Nevada State Route 225. We've got 3 resource areas from west to east. They're Dobie George, Wood Gulch, and Gravel Creek. We own about 62 square kilometers of project. Again, we've got that gold endowment that comes off Jarrett Canyon, Big Springs. There's about 15 million ounces of past production and gold resource that exists on those properties and culminates with our discovery at Gravel Creek and Dobie George. And again, we're only 100 kilometers north of Elko, right off paved highway. I encourage you to look at that map in the upper left-hand or upper right-hand corner of the left-hand side of the slide. You'll see Jarrett Canyon, Midas, and Sleeper. We're going to talk a little bit about all of those as we move forward in the presentation. Importantly, we're permitted for exploration drilling right until the end of 2029, so no needs for additional permits for our activities. The gold endowment we've got on the left-hand side of the slide, or on the west, Carlin-type deposit, 500,000 ounces at Dobie George, currently in a PEA process being completed hopefully by the middle of April. Very high grade, locally up to about 10 gram per ton on surface, but an average grade of 1 gram per ton. Very simple metallurgy, very proven process. Gravel Creek, on the other hand, very high grade epithermal discovery, slightly younger, analogous to some of those deposits we looked at on that previous slide, Sleeper, Midas, Delamar, etc. You can see the core at the bottom where we're getting up to 40 gram per ton gold equivalent, so very high grade. Talking about the high-grade Gravel Creek discovery, you can see on this map in gray, those are where you find these very high-grade deposits. They're typically vein deposits that have been exploited by underground mining. Midas, you can see, produced about 2.5 million ounces of gold and 30 million ounces of silver with Newmont as operator. Sleeper, Delamar, and Jarbidge are all very similar. They're all the same age, between 15 and 16 million years, very high-grade epithermal deposits. You can see where Gravel Creek is in that yellow circle with the GC, right in the middle of where all those high-grade deposits occur. You can see the area we're drilling on the far right. We're drilling those black veins. Those are our high-grade veins that we put out drill results on this year, and we'll look at those in a second. At Gravel Creek, we've defined a metallurgical process. We get mid-95% gold and silver recovery to float concentrate. There's many operations in Nevada that are buying float concentrates right now, Jarrett Canyon being the closest to us, which is only 28 kilometers to the south. So looking at the high-grade discovery, you can see our resource there in that pinkish red color. We currently have about 700,000 ounces outlined and indicated and inferred. That was defined by about 80 drill holes. In that yellow area, that is where we're drilling this year. We've managed to connect the dots with various high-grade intercepts from past drilling. You can see on the northern end, in WG 417, we've still got 3 meters of 40 grams per ton gold and 1,000 grams per ton silver wide open to the north. On the south end, where we drilled this year in 458, we're seeing up to 2 meters of 7 grams per ton, but more importantly, up to 16 to 17 gram per ton gold equivalent, still wide open to the south. So this system is not closed off on strike, and it is only 100 meters away from a current resource of 700,000 ounces, and we think it'll eventually join that resource. If we look at what it looks like up dip. So this is a cut-through section of that last slide we looked at. You can see the drill hole there, 461, that we released about a week ago, where we're getting up to 20 gram per ton gold in these veins that continue right from our gold resource, and the pink on the left, all the way up dip for almost 250 meters. So still wide open up towards the surface. We can see some anomalous gold and silver on surface, but it does not form economic grades at surface. So this is a hidden deposit. This is why this thing is still there, because it did not outcrop in the past. I would point out that on that yellow area where we've got our high grades, we only have 19 drill holes there to date, and we've defined 350 meters of strike length and 250 meters of depth length. So a lot more drilling required to expand and understand how big this resource can get at this high grade area. You can see WG461 in this section returned some of our highest results from the year. We got up to 4,360 gram per ton silver in assay. So this is a very silver-rich system as well. Gold and silver, very similar to these other high-grade deposits we talked about at the start. This is Midas. If you look at those sections on the right, A and B, those are the veins. I don't want you to focus on those sections, but understand that this was one of the highest grades, most profitable mines ever produced in Nevada. It produced about 300,000 ounces of gold a year at 1 ounce per ton. If you look at the comparison between what we're doing and what Midas was, they're both about 15.2 million years old. The mineralogies, gold and silver as native elements, and silver selenites, naumanite and argyrite. If you look at the grade, very similar. That grade for Midas is the produced grade, 40 gram per ton. We're right in that range, and the widths of the mineralization is remarkably similar, averaging about 5 feet true width at Midas, and we're averaging about 6 feet in our mineralization. So very similar deposits in style, in age, in occurrence type, and in location. We look how we can grow this. You can see we're Gravel Creek, the resource is there in black, and you can see the yellow area that we've defined by drilling this year. That is wide open for another 1.5 kilometers off to the northeast. That's soil geochemistry and gravity on that map. The gravity are the bright colors, the soil geochemistry are the dots. We sampled that area called North Badger, and it returned identical surface results to what's above the Gravel Creek deposit. So we don't know how big this district gets. That Saddle and Wood Gulch area, those were mined by Homestake in the late 80s, early 90s. They averaged about 4 gram per ton in open pit. We think that that is the next area where we find the next Gravel Creek system. It is totally untested by modern drilling, but wide open for about 3 kilometers of strike length. Dobie George we talked about. You can see the pits here at $1,800 gold. They hold about 525,000 ounces of gold at about 1 gram per ton. Very straightforward oxide metallurgy. Very easy to heap leach this on an open pit. The area near that blizzard point is private fee land that we have in a mineral lease and can acquire for $200 an acre. So we would look to mine this, put all the infrastructure on private land. The average grade, as I said, in those gold blocks is above 0.3 gram cutoff, and the red are above 2 gram. So we think we've got some potential improvement to grade over the long term, but again, we expect to have a PEA completed on this by April of this year. And then that will be the kickoff point to start to a full pre-feasibility that we'd look to complete in the first quarter of 2026. The team, I'm a geologist by training. In my previous life, I've worked in all over the Americas, from Argentina all the way up into the Arctic. My last gig before joining this company was Executive Vice President of Yamana, in charge of technical development and exploration. Mark Hawksworth has worked for me for 25 years as Director of North American Exploration for Yamana, and before that with Meridian. Curtis Turner and Nicole Cowles were on the founding team of Argonaut Gold back in the day. Nicole is here with me. I encourage you to visit our booth and meet with Nicole and I. So we've got a team that's all based in Reno, Nevada, have worked together for over 25 years, and supported by our board, we've developed a company here from initial grassroots discovery made in 2013 to a company that currently has about 1.3 million ounces in resource and a definite path to going forward in that resource category, but also taking in a heap leach oxide deposit into development. Very tight capital structure. We have about 45 million shares outstanding on a fully diluted basis, about 60 million. You can see our shareholder roster. Golconda is a private equity group out of New York. They hold about 44% of the company. Agnico Eagle owns about 14% of the company. Oramet, the refining company, is one of our key equity contributors, and they've been involved in every private placement we've done as a company since 2022. So the highlights for exploration, I say I'm out of time, but really focused on high-grade exploration near infrastructure in one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great conference. Thank you.